So, waited to see what was going on in the fight. Hold on.
Hold on. I beat your ass. Look at his face. You look like I beat him with that beat my Martin Luther King with, man. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm an honest man. We went at it for 12 rounds. That's what go at it next game. We can do it again. We're going at it this game. I beat your ass. Do it again. I beat your ass like you stole something. I beat your ass like you got suspended from school. I beat your ass like you stole my ball, Jasmine. We can go get some more if you want. You heard me. You cool stuff? I'm ready to fight right now, fool. Come on, man. You need peroxide. You need peroxide and alcohol. You need to settle down. You need peroxide and alcohol. Boy, your face on 6'9" right now. You a blood.
All right. Did you think you won the fight?
I thought I won the fight.
Oh, man.
I can't argue and I can't dispute the judge's decision.
Why do you think you won the fight?
Because I was landing clean, effective blows from the outside. And then I settled in, finally inside, hit him with a clean, hard body shot.
Oh, man. Anyway, man. Split decision. Split decision in the fight. Majority split. Let's just get to it. Jessie Vargas did what he had to do, man. He boxed for the majority of the fight through his jab, like I knew he was going to do. Told you guys he had a stiff jab, and he was going to utilize that in this fight. He went to the body. He mixed up his attack from the body to the head. In my opinion, he kind of controlled the fight from the first round to up in between the I would say, 5th and maybe the 6th a little bit. But that could have went either way. So Adrien Broner ended up coming back. Put together some pretty good combinations, did too much head hunting, didn't want to let his hands go. His coach was going pretty hard on Adrien Broner for the majority of the fight, telling him to let his hands go. And had he done that, it wouldn't have ended up being a split decision. So it was a lot of tying up in the fight. Referee should have broke that up a lot sooner and should have gave both of them warnings. But mostly Jessie Vargas was the one doing all of the grabbing and holding. But he did what he had to do to make sure that he kept Adrien Broner off of him. He ended up tiring out Jessie Vargas in the later rounds. He ended up tiring out. He was loose, you know, in the early to mid rounds, and then I would say from about 7 or 8, you know, he started tiring out. He wasn't throwing his jab as much. He went into throwing maybe one or two punches. He stuck to the body attack like I knew he was going to do and like he should have done, you know, to keep Adrien Broner off of him. But Broner was coming back. He ended up walking Jessie Vargas down, throwing some really, really good jabs of his own, setting up some good combinations. He missed a lot of punches he threw, but he started connecting. Like I said, in those later rounds, in between the 6th round, the 7th round, you know, and on, he started landing a lot of combinations. Jessie Vargas looked like more so than hurt. He just looked like he was tired. I know Broner was throwing some great shots, and he had Vargas a little winded, but I don't think that he completely had him hurt or devastated in the fight at all. But he did do a good job. I thought that, well, like I said, I knew it was going to turn into a fight. I thought Broner was going to try to stick to boxing. He didn't really go into his shoulder roll as much, so I saw that change in him. I saw him setting his gloves up high, you know, keeping his gloves towards his face more so than throwing the shoulder roll, and I think they worked on that because Adrien Broner in most of his fights, when he's not throwing punches and he's utilizing that shoulder roll, he's giving his opponents a lot to work with, you know, especially with being able to go to the head and take shots to the body, so it makes it look like his opponents are dominating him in that fashion. So that's what I believe his corner wanted to work on in this fight, and it worked to his benefit. But it would have been a whole lot better if Adrien Broner would have let his hands go early in the fight. But I just want to know from you guys, who do you guys think won the fight? You know, it was crazy. It was hard to judge at times. You know, I just kind of watched this fight, you know, from a true fan's perspective. I just wanted to see who was gonna edge who. I didn't really count rounds in this fight like I did in the other two with Tank Davis and Charlo. I was counting rounds in those fights. Really didn't have to count long because, you know, it was some knockdowns and knockouts, you know, in that fight, in those fights. So in this one, you know, it wasn't technical. It was just more of a fight. You know, it turned into a fight. So congratulations to everybody, man, tonight, because it was really, really good for boxing, man. Everybody did good. Amir Khan got his victory. Carl Frampton put a boxing clinic up against Nonito Donaire, and Tank Davis went in there and put hands on his opponent. And Charlo, we all knew what was going to happen in that fight. I mean, watching this dude come out looking like Glass Joe, you know, having the ultimate comb over, like he's the school teacher. I mean, all he was missing was the laptop and the dry board, man. I mean, get that man some magic markers. Get him some magic markers and a dry eraser, man. I mean, that dude looked like a straight up school teacher. You know, so I knew that was going to happen when I saw him come out bouncing in the first round, man. When was the last time you seen a guy just come out bouncing like that? You know, but Adrien Broner, man, he's going to have to, the only thing he needs to do is work on his foot movement and letting his hands go. Everything else was working well for him tonight. You know, his upper body movement, his head movement, he was slipping punches. You know, he could have did a lot better in that regard, but he was still, you know, doing a lot of the things he was doing earlier on in his career. So he has a chance to turn the tides in his career if he stays focused, stop all of the antics, and just focus on boxing. But other than that, man, it was a pretty decent fight if you guys caught it. You know, so. Last words, man. Once again, man, you guys tell me who you think won that fight. You know, it could have been better, or tell me, you know, what rounds you had Broner up in, what rounds you have Vargas in. In my opinion, like I said, Vargas was winning the first half of the fight. You know, from really 1 through 5, 6, like I said, could have went either way. And from there, you saw Adrien Broner walking him down and landing some good shots, but you also saw Vargas coming back and tying him up, you know, to where he couldn't be as busy, where Adrien Broner couldn't be as busy in the fight. So he fought a smart fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Call it a night. But it was a good weekend for boxing. All I did was sit here and watch boxing, man. So anyway, y'all have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man, and holla at me. Peace.